All right, hello and welcome to Double Play Sports. I'm James alongside Pat. This is episode 45, and today we're joined by former Oakland A, Daric Barton. How are you doing today?
I am great. I'm enjoying the cool weather here in Phoenix. And thank you for having me on. I look forward to our interview.
Yeah, this should be a good one. We haven't had too many Oakland A's on. We had your teammate Blevins on, I think 2 years ago, and he was a great guy. So, and got to rep the A's hat. They're my American League team. So happy to have an Oakland guy on.
Yeah, Jay Blev, man, we call him Tripod, but only he knows why. I love that guy. He's one of
Okay,
my
okay.
favorites.
Yeah, you can't tell us the story behind that one?
Nope.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
so I know a lot of guys like I'll tell a lot of stories that happen, but I
Mhm.
I, I won't tell. There are just some certain things that have to stay. Um, they have to stay under wraps. You know what I mean?
It's understandable. It's understandable. Yeah. So, you were saying you're out in Phoenix and Arizona. There's a lot of former pros living out in Arizona. Are there any guys that you keep in touch with from your playing days or guys who you played against that are out in the Phoenix area?
Yeah, there's a few guys. I mean, there's a ton of guys that live here.
Yeah.
Um, I've seen Shea Hillebrand a few times. A guy I played with, Brad Knox. Um, he lives close by. Scott Hairston is close by. Let's see who else. That's pretty much all I hang out with or all I talk to.
Yeah.
I kind of stay to myself and kind of do my own thing.
Fair enough. Yeah, we had Shay on and I think 2021. He's a very energetic guy, but he's a funny guy.
You know what? He is very energetic and he's very passionate. And
Yeah.
I'm 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 grateful for him going out there and sharing his story because I think a lot of people get a lot of value from him and being transparent with people and
Yeah.
letting people know that life is not all sunshine and rainbows.
That's very true.
Yeah, definitely. He was I believe he's our longest episode, and we were more than willing to just let him just talk and go on. It was really great to hear everything he had to say.
Yeah, and now he's traveling, I believe, doing like motivational speaking type stuff. So more
Yeah.
power to him, man. Love that guy.
Yeah. So like many highly touted high school prospects, you had a pretty high level commitment to play college baseball for you at Cal State Fullerton. What's that process like being highly recruited, but also being highly scouted? And what's the decision like to sign with an MLB team away from your commitment?
If I'm fully transparent, I never plan to go to college. Um, so I learned at that time, which I didn't realize, the power of leverage.
Hmm.
And so, if you sign with a college team, you have more leverage with the team that drafts you. And so, while I never thought I'd be drafted in the first round, I signed with Fullerton for multiple reasons, which later I discovered that I probably should have signed with a team that was a little bit bigger school. Like they were great at baseball. But I didn't go travel the country on recruiting trips. So I stayed local to Long Beach State, Loyola Marymount, and Fullerton. Um, but yeah, when I got recruited, I can say this now because I'm almost 40, but they treated me or us, I guess there was a big group of us, like one of them. So we went out, normal stories. They take you out to the whatever parties are going on and get you drunk and all that kind of stuff. But it was pure leverage for me, really. I wanted to play baseball. I don't like school. I didn't like school. And then when I got drafted, I was also 17. So like to have these teams talking to me was kind of surreal, but I look back and it's like it happened so fast that there was really no time to think it through and think about like, what was really happening. Because after that, I mean, every day was just, off to play baseball. So I didn't really have time to sit back and think about what the process was like. All I know is my mom signed my contract with me. Once I signed with St. Louis, my mom had to co-sign because I wasn't old enough. So um, it was
Yeah.
a it was a crazy time in my life for sure.
I never heard about that, like parents having to co-sign, because there's been a lot of guys who've been drafted like younger than 18. I didn't know that. Do you know if they still do that today?
I have no clue. All
Yeah,
I know is that at that point, I mean, I wasn't an adult, so
yeah,
um, I don't really know what the laws are. I just remember her having to sign with me.
yeah.
I'm interested during your draft process. Were you like sort of aware of where you were gonna go, or was it sort of like a mystery to you? Like, were you talking to a lot of teams, just a few? Like, what was that like?
I think the rumor was like late second, early third, if I remember correctly. Um, we did host a draft party back then. They didn't do all like the TV stuff and any of that. As far as I remember, they didn't do that. But we held a draft party at my uncle's house, and we weren't really sure, what to expect. So we were just all hanging out and expecting to wait until the second or third round. And then we got a call late in the first round from the Cardinals. And I don't really remember how that conversation went. But I know there were some you know, conversations about uh whether or not, let me think back. My goodness, that's a good question. I don't remember what the hell we talked about. Everything was a blur, right? Like again, we
Mm.
had friends and family there, and I remember getting the call from St. Louis, and everything went wild after that. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah, that sounds like a crazy time. I can't even imagine you surrounded by everyone expecting to have to wait another probably hour or two for your name to be called, and you get it late first round, especially from a team like the Cardinals with a lot of history and who were pretty good at that point. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise.
Yeah.
A welcome surprise, but yeah, it was a surprise. Yeah.
For sure. So I want to talk about Billy Bean, the iconic GM from Moneyball, the book, the movie. Everyone knows Billy Bean, probably the most known executive ever. He was the A's higher up when you were there, and he actually traded for you, which is really interesting. Can you talk about Billy as an executive and if you had any sort of relationship with him?
I will say this. I owe a lot of where I'm at now to Billy. Um he when they traded for me, I didn't comprehend the um the magnitude. Like I was 18 at the time, or maybe I had just turned 19, but I didn't realize. I thought when you got traded, it was because that team didn't want you, right? I didn't realize it was the opposite. And no, it's the team that's trading for you did want you. And so if I look back at the way I played over my career, it was because I fit that mold. I got a lot of walks, I got on base, I hit a lot of doubles, and I didn't really know what Moneyball was at the time, but once I got over there and realized, what they were all about, I'm like, oh yeah, this is exactly my style of play. So with that being said, Billy Bean was an intense guy who I have the utmost respect for. Um, he was not afraid to say it like it was, and be honest, and just throw it out there and hold people accountable, which I loved. Um, and he and I had a great relationship. He had a lot of confidence in me, and I was very grateful for that. And I look back, and again, without his backing, I don't think I would have played as long as I did. He gave me a lot of opportunities, and I'm very grateful for that. Um, and I still need to get to him in person and tell him in person. I haven't seen him. I've been trying. I tried it in 2020 when COVID came, and we actually had a scheduled meeting, and I went to the last spring training game before they shut down spring training in 2020, and I was supposed to meet with them, but then obviously COVID happened, and they weren't allowing people to meet. So, um, love the guy, super intense. Like, look, their whole thing was to how can we make the best team possible without having a huge payroll,
Yeah.
and they've had some really good teams. I think at some point you realize that once you get to the playoffs, it's a different game, right? So I'm not sure whether or not that strategy was the most beneficial in the playoffs, but I felt like the odds were always stacked against the Oakland team because of the low payroll. They really had to get creative. And so he was like the master of getting creative.
Yeah, that that must be interesting for you as a player. Obviously, during your career, mostly you're just thinking like, I'm playing ball, I'm playing for the A's, but to sort of realize that obviously you with a for 356 on base that you exactly fit the mold that this team is looking for, and like you are the type of player that they're looking for. Them
That's what we're looking for. Three ball players whose average OBP is
364.
must be interesting to think about.
I felt, yeah, I mean, it is interesting, but then I realized that it's like that's what they're looking for in everybody.
Yeah,
Not that everybody fits that mold, but I think there are pieces to a team, right? So it's a team. There's guys that need to get on base, and there's guys that need to drive guys in, and there's guys that do both. Now, if you ask a lot of the Oakland fans, I probably didn't fit their prototypical first baseman, right? I mean, you had a guy like Matt Olson come in and just smashing homers. So, yeah, it was kind of weird. Always having that thought in my mind where, so a lot of time I didn't feel like I fit what the fans were looking for. Right, there was a lot of talk about how I wasn't your normal first baseman that hits homers, right? And so, of course, you try not to listen to the outside noise, but you still hear it. It's obviously up to us to be mentally strong enough for it not to affect us. But yeah, it was definitely kind of weird once I figured out, like, okay, I'm the exact fit for this team. I might not be in the right position, but then I also got reassurance from Billy many times saying, hey, look, we're not worried about you hitting 25, 30 homers, right? Continue just to hit your doubles and get on base. And so that was definitely reassuring when he told me that multiple times. And again, I owe a lot of my success to him and the opportunities.
yeah. So and I don't know if have you seen Moneyball, the movie?
I have. So we were actually at the stadium when they were filming parts of it. Yeah.
So
So we got to see Brad and Angelina Jolie. Yeah. It was kind of cool.
so that's our question. What do you think of Brad Pitt's portrayal of Billy?
Um, I think if they were going to get anything right in that movie, they were going to make sure that it had the right description or presentation of Billy. Look, Billy's always in the gym. He was always in the gym working out. You know, man, he was a man of habit. Like he was very habitual, and he was very consistent with that. I didn't know Billy on a personal level where we hung out outside the field, right? So it's not like he was involved in the clubhouse every day, hanging out. He did his thing. He came to work out in the gym, and then he went back up to the office and did whatever he did. So I don't know exactly how they portrayed him and how it matched up to him, but I do know that he was always in the gym working out, and he was very intense. So they got that part right.
Is he a fan of Pitt's performance? Do you know? Has he ever
I
talked
have
about
no
it?
idea. I
No.
have no
Okay.
clue.
All fair. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to be upset when Brad Pitt, he's a pretty attractive looking guy, making it seem like he's Billy Beans. That's got to be a good look for him.
Hey, if Brad Pitt played me, I'd be cool with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever, on kind of that note, have you ever gotten like a celebrity look-alike that people have told you?
Oh gosh. If I have, I probably disagreed with them, so I didn't remember.
Okay.
No, no.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. So getting back to your career a little bit, you were in the 2005 Futures game, which is one of the highest honors you can get to as a prospect. Can you talk about being like a hype prospect with the high media attention and people looking at you, and playing in that game with so many other talented young guys? I think Verlander was on one of the Futures teams. So can you just talk about the experience as a hype prospect and being in the Futures game?
Yeah, ours was in Detroit. It was really cool. It's one of those things where I think so. I was just a guy that kind of showed up to play every day, right? I didn't know what the futures game was. Again, I was 19, right? So a lot of these guys, like, yeah, there's younger guys, but the majority, like Connor Jackson, it was his third year in the futures game when I went. I think Jonesy, Adam Jones was there my year, I believe. Um, it was, it was it was a great experience. George Brett was our manager. Um, but like I just show up and play. Like it was really weird. Like I didn't, for me, it wasn't like it was a huge honor, right? To be invited to this, but I didn't understand the magnitude of it. Again, when I came up as a young kid, I felt like I was always, one of the younger guys on the team, and I never really understood the magnitude of certain things. And so maybe that was good, maybe it wasn't good, but I was really naive in the fact that the futures game was such a big deal. Um, but man, there was some good talent there, right? Like you show up to one of those and you're used to being one of the better players, and you show up to one of those and you're like, holy cow, everybody's just as good or better, right? And so I think it was definitely eye-opening in that regard. I didn't start. I think Connor started actually. Um, but my one at bat, I got to face Anibal Sanchez, and I I had faced a lot of good pitchers, right? But coming off the bench, and everyone's an all-star basically, right? So it's like this guy's coming out throwing 95 with a really nasty changeup. I ended up striking out. Um, but it was a great experience. I look back and I wish I had kind of soaked in more of the experiences that I had, because it passed really fast, right? And here we are 20 years later, and talking to you guys about what happened 18 years ago.
So you batted second and played first base during Dallas Braden's perfect game. You had a nice day that day. You went 3 for 5, scored 2 runs. But curious, what's it like to be a part of a game that's so important to MLB history like that?
Okay. Man, May 10th, 2000, no, May 9th, 2010. I'm sitting here staring at some memorabilia from that day. I've got a magazine that Dallas signed for everybody that played that day. It was incredible, man. It was surreal. But again, you don't understand I didn't understand the magnitude. Like, yes, a perfect game is a perfect game, but I didn't realize there were only 18 up until that point, right? Like it's and I had known Dallas since 2005 when we were in Stockton. So we had a pretty good relationship as it was. Um, and then to have that done with his grandma in the stands was, I get the chills talking about it, because it's such an incredible experience. I know probably will be the thing I remember the most about my career, because it was so, just everything that went on Mother's Day. And I mean, it was just an amazing experience. And I did get to face my buddy James Shields that day as well. So it was a great day. We were using the pink bats, and it was just like a perfect day altogether.
It's crazy looking at like what Dallas overcame to get just to the even professional baseball, and then to the MLB, and then to be part of history like he was with family in attendance. It's just an amazing story. So it's crazy you were part of that.
Yeah, it was. We had some good plays that were made behind him that day to preserve. But it's kind of like one of those things. You look at all the perfect games, and there's always one or two plays that were like, dang, that was so close to breaking it up. Or, I mean, he can't walk anybody. Like, look, how many times did he go get 3 balls on somebody that day? I felt like there was only, I don't even remember. I know when Gabe Kapler swung at a 3-1 pitch to end the game, I believe it was, or was it 3-2? I don't remember. Man, like everything has to work perfectly.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the coolest experiences that I've ever been a part of, for sure.
Yeah, I could imagine there's definitely some moments where at a certain point in the game, every time the ball gets put in play, everybody's just like, whoa, hold on. Somebody
Yeah.
better get to that ball.
Not until like the 8th, though.
Yeah.
up until then, it's just kind of like, it is what it is. But but Dallas had he had the persona to never even, like, nothing bothered him. Right? He was so mentally tough that, it didn't matter what the situation was. He was so confident in his abilities, which clearly showed up there, right? I mean, you had, not to go off on a tangent, but when A-Rod crossed over the mound when he was pitching, he wasn't too happy about it and he let him know. But that's just Dallas. Like, he's a great teammate. I would 100% play for him any day of the week.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy. So we always do a segment here. We're Double Play Sports. We do a segment called Seeing Double. So the question is, who's a player in the game today that you really like his play because it kind of reminds you of your own?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I don't watch a lot of sports anymore. A guy that I love to watch that is way better than I ever was is Juan Soto.
Okay.
Um, he he has amazing at bats. He's a good hitter. He works the count. He knows the strike zone. Obviously, he like leads the league in walks every year. But he also hits 3 something with 30 plus homers. Like, the guy's an incredible player, and I just love watching him play.
It's a good answer. Yeah, I mean, another guy that was or walks are his main priority. It feels like a lot of the time, but if you even pitch it in the zone, it's like he's not striking out. He's gonna make you pay. So he's a great guy to watch.
Incredible. I mean, more offensively, right? Defensively,
Yeah,
he's an outfielder, so I don't I don't watch him play outfield, but I love to
yeah,
watch him hit.
yeah.
So throughout your career, you were teammates with a lot of guys that could get the iconic status, but possibly none more that get the whole legendary charade than Bartolo Colon.
Yeah.
Uh, do you, do you have any stories about him, whether it was him personally, fans with him, anything like that?
Um, Here's the thing with Bartolo. The one thing I loved about him, well, there were a lot of things I loved about him. One, I think he played the role of not knowing any English when the media was around, so he didn't have to talk to him. Um, but secondarily, when we were on plane flights, right? I mean, Bart's this real quiet, funny guy. Um, but every plane flight we were on, and even like in the clubhouse, he was always like listening to something, right? And so, like, one of these days, I looked, or I saw what he was looking to. He's always listening to Adele. Like, he loved listening to Adele. And I never would have thought in a million years that would be what I thought he listened to, like, reggaeton or some kind of rap. Nope, Adele. I don't know what it was, but he was always listening to Adele.
That's awesome. I can't believe, I really wish we could have seen Bartolo walk out to the mound to hello or rolling in the deep or something like that.
I
That would
know,
have been
right?
great. Yeah.
Oh, and
And
then
that
the other thing was his bubble gum. Like, he always had the same bubble gum. He would be chewing his bubble gum, and then in between innings, he spit it in his hand, put it in his hat or in his glove somewhere, and then he would put it back at it. Like, hey, whatever works. He's still pitching in Dubai or something.
Yeah.
yeah, we interviewed the president of the baseball league in Dubai, and he talked just like Bartolo is just one of those guys that you never expect what he's going to do next. And it's funny you mentioned the thing about the press, like talking, like pretending not to be able to speak English to the press. I remember I saw an interview with someone when he was on the Twins that was like he was sitting next to Bartolo and making like a PB&J or something, and Bartolo just out of the blue, never having said any English, just goes, "Hey, can you pass the peanut butter?" And that's got to be the funniest thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's common with a lot of the Latin guys because it gets them, it gets them out of talking to the press.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
No comment.
Yeah. So in 2013, the A's faced off against the Tigers in the ALDS. You got to play in the postseason, your first licks in the postseason. Can you talk about playing under the bright lights and facing off against one of the best rotations we've seen in the 2000s?
Man, talking about David versus Goliath.
Mm.
Like, it was everything I ever dreamed of, right? Like, everyone always, grows up at least playing baseball, wanting to play in the playoffs. The one start I get, mind you, the 3 previous years, I'm up and down from AAA to Oakland, right? Struggle, do well, earn my way back, get sent back down, earn my way back. So it was a roller coaster. And then I make the playoffs in 13. I'm just like, holy crap. Like from everything I've gone through, this is insane. So at that point, I was coming in as like a defensive replacement for the most part because Brandon Moss was just stroking it, right? Which was fine. I love Brandon. I got one start. I think it was game 3, or I don't remember what game it was, but it was against Max Scherzer. Now, mind you, Max Scherzer is my nemesis of all time. Like I don't know what it is. I tell people the story where I took a lot of pride in not striking out. There's only one guy to strike me out 3 times in a game, and I think he's done it twice. So it's like, again, looking at my only start in the playoffs, I struck out 3 times, right? And Bartolo was actually pitching that game. But with that being said, like the atmosphere in Oakland was absolutely incredible. I never ever seen that, felt that. Man, it was a dream come true. Unfortunately, we lost. They had an amazing staff. I think Miggy might have hit for the Triple Crown that year. But yeah, it was fun.
So, watching some of your clips, like you just mentioned about those A's fans, uh, it's hard not to realize how diehard they can really be, and you know, it sort of seems like they're a little more few and far between now, and with the A's moving away, you know, it's sad to see baseball moving away from Oakland. What can you say about the A's faithful in Oakland?
I don't want to say there was a huge group of them, but the ones that were there, look, right field, left field, the ones in the bleachers, and then the ones right behind our dugout. I mean, we know who the faithful fans were. It's unfortunate for them because we know they truly love Oakland baseball. At the same time, if reality is that the fans just don't show up regularly in Oakland. So as a business, I could see where the dilemma is. Um, as a culture, like, look, if the place sold out every night, there would be no issue. And so it's really tough to me, like a business sense. I think it's great for Oakland. For the real true fans, it sucks. And there's really nothing you can tell them to make them feel better because they are diehard fans. And they were out there every game. Those true fans were out there every game, and we definitely noticed. We appreciated that. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely sad because there was the one like the reverse, like they all showed up for the same game and were super loud. And so it's definitely sad to see those fans who really care about Oakland baseball that it's leaving for especially Vegas. But I mean, I do, like you said, the business side of things, it's just they're bottom 3 in attendance almost every year, and the other 2 are the Florida teams, which aren't going to get big attendance. So
Yeah.
it's sad, but it is understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, look, are they complaining? Are they yelling at the Warriors and the Raiders too?
yeah,
I don't know.
perhaps I don't know, but
Oakland's a tough city, man.
yeah,
Oakland is a rough city.
yeah.
They just shut down their only in and out because of all the issues.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I know,
Okay.
random, but
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So we
what's
always
worse, the A's leaving or the In and Out?
ooh,
ooh. Um, for me, the in and out. For the fans, the A's.
yeah, yeah. Understandable. So we always wrap up our interviews with trivia. So we have 4 trivia questions for you that relate to your career a little bit. So we're gonna see how you can do. No pressure, but these are definitely some fun ones that maybe will give you a little blast of the past. So you
Yeah, let's
walked
see.
100. You walked 110 times in 2010, leading the American League. Great year for you. Can you name the 2 other A's to walk 110 times or more since 2000? One of them you played with, another one's just a big Oakland name.
Nick Swisher.
Not quite. Another guy who
Ooh,
you
okay.
played multiple years with. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, who walked as much as me? Um, everybody was swinging.
He was DH for a lot of the time you were there.
Oh, Custy.
Yeah. Custy had
Okay, all right.
110 plus, and then the other guy's just like he was one of the better A's of
Giambi?
yeah, Giambi did it.
Okay,
So
got it. Got
good
it.
ones there. Pat, you want
Custy,
to do the
oh, my
next one?
bad.
Yeah, so Marina High School in Huntington Beach, California has produced 7 major leaguers, including 1 active player. Can you name that active player?
Bowers?
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
was quick.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah. Sellers was there. Craig Wilson.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, good work on that. So
Couple other ones.
you wore number 10. You wore that your whole MLB career. Can you name the last Oakland A to wear number 10?
Hatterberg.
No, after
Oh,
you.
after me?
Yeah.
Simeon.
Semyon wore it. I think Pinder may have worn it too, but Semyon's the more iconic one to wear
Yeah.
10. So I'll
Yeah.
take that. And then Pat, you want to do the final one?
Yeah, finally, in 2010, you won the Fielding Bible Award for first baseman. Can you name the only other athletics first baseman to win that award?
He's a more recent guy.
Olson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Olson's great at the corner.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he is. He is. If I
Yeah.
lose you guys, I thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
This was amazing.
This has been fantastic. Great times as always. We appreciate you coming on. Thanks everyone for listening in. And Daric, hope all is well.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.